Hi guys, it's Nick from Let's Chat, and in this video today I'm going to review my round 6 footy tipping, and I'm going to do my round 7 footy tips. So let's get underway. So first of all I'm going to do my review of the round 6 footy tips. So I tipped Fremantle to beat the Bulldogs, but the Bulldogs somehow destroyed Fremantle in a massive upset. I tipped the Power in an easy win over West Coast. I tipped Brisbane to beat the GWS. I've got that one as well. I tipped Geelong and they've got up easily in the grand final rematch. I tipped Adelaide and they won in a thriller. I tipped my Blues, but we got robbed against St Kilda, as you saw in my previous video fairly early in the week, so feel free to watch that video if you haven't already. I tipped Gold Coast to win over North Melbourne. I tipped Melbourne against Richmond, and I tipped Collingwood against Essendon. So I got 7 out of 9 this week, so that's the best I've done for the year. So I'm getting higher and higher and better with my tips every week. So hopefully I can try and get a 9 out of 9 tip right this year. I really want to, hey? So now I'm going to do my tips for round 7 for this week. And the first match is between St Kilda and Port Adelaide. St Kilda had a win against Carlton, and Port Adelaide had a comfortable win against West Coast. So both teams coming off wins. So it's going to be a really tough one, but I've stick to St Kilda, and I'm going to tip them in a close game by 11 points. So the next game is between Brisbane and Fremantle. Brisbane are coming off a gutsy win over GWS, while Fremantle have come off pretty much their most disappointing loss of the season against Western Bulldogs. Like, Fremantle, they're overrated. Like, they're not going to win a premiership. Like, they're always pretenders. People think they're good, but they're not really that good. So, Brisbane, they should win comfortably by 35 points, I reckon. So the next match is between Sydney and GWS, the Sydney Derby, the Battle of the Bridge. Sydney have come off a horrible loss against Geelong in the grand final rematch by 93 points, with GWS they come off a bit of a loss as well against Brisbane, but it wasn't as bad. They did okay for parts of the game, but they still lost. But I reckon Sydney will respond here and they'll win by 23 points in a gutsy win. So the next game is between the Western Bulldogs and Hawthorn. Western Bulldogs came off a huge 49-point win over Fremantle in Perth, whilst Hawthorn came off another close loss under a goal against Adelaide. So you would think the Bulldogs should win here, and I'm going to tip them. So I reckon the Bulldogs will win by 14 points in this match. So the next game is between Melbourne and North Melbourne. Melbourne had a comeback win against Richmond on Anzac Day Eve, and North Melbourne had another horrible loss, this time against the Gold Coast Suns. So easy tip here. Melbourne will win. They should win by 56 points. So the next game is between West Coast and Carlton at Optus Stadium. West Coast coming off another horrible loss, this time against Port Adelaide. In Carlton, well, also coming off a loss against St Kilda. But I reckon my Blues, after 2 losses in a row against Adelaide and St Kilda, they will be really hungry to bounce back. And I reckon we will win by 86 points, Carlton. So don't judge me about how much we're going to win by. I'm just saying my prediction, okay? So the next match is between Essendon and Geelong at the MCG on the Sunday afternoon. Essendon were up by 28 points at 3/4 time on Anzac Day against Collingwood, and they choked it. Don't know how they did it. They had to match 1. But anyways, Geelong, they had a big win against Sydney by 93 points. Hawkins and Cameron kicking 5 each, 10 between them. Dangerfield at his absolute best with 31 disposals and a goal. And it was good to see Sam Simpson back from injury, kicked a couple of goals, which was good to see. So I reckon Geelong should win their 4th game in a row here, and they should win it by a comfortable 46 points. So the next match is between Richmond and Gold Coast. Richmond had a disappointing loss against Melbourne after leading most of the game. And with Gold Coast, they had an easy, comfortable win over North Melbourne. They lose Touk Miller though, so Touk Miller will be out for a while with a knee injury. So that will be a big loss for Gold Coast. Hopefully he won't be out for the rest of the season because they'll need him. So I reckon since it's at Marvel Stadium, I reckon Richmond will have the home ground advantage and they'll win by 12 points in a close game. So the last game of the week will be between Adelaide and Collingwood. Adelaide are in some form, good form, and they've won their last 4 games. The only team that won 4 games in a row this season. And Collingwood, they had a good comeback win against Essendon on Anzac Day with Nick Dacos winning the Anzac medal. He could even win the Brownlow medal this year, even in just his 2nd year. Can you believe it? Like, he's just killing it in the midfield. He won the Rising Star last year and he could win so many more achievements. He could win heaps of achievements and he will have a whole stack of them when he retires. He'll probably arguably be the best player you'll ever see, probably, even though he plays for the worst team. But I've got to admit, he is a beast. So it should be a really cracking game, the game of the round, I reckon. So I'm going to tip Collingwood to win by 3 points. So thank you all for watching this video, guys. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Catch you guys.